What's up? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today. With me I have some more RPG horror story emails this time. Yes, I'm finally getting around to cover some of the emails. Some keyword, because, well, to be honest, apparently my inbox was full of Discord messages that basically just like, hey, a new person messaged in Discord. Hey, a new person messaged in Discord. And then just like 170 something emails just filling up. So I'm gonna have to clean up a little bit to try to get some of the older ones, but do me a favor. Just resend your horror story sets at the top of the email instead of deep down at the bottom. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, let's get some RPG horror story email submissions for today. Horror story and request from Jacob. Howdy, Morrow. I have several horror stories, all from one long campaign, plus a prequel story from a previous dungeon master. I also have a possible request, but that can wait till after the stories. So I had a handful of RPG horror stories, but most of them come from one campaign run by a DM we'll call Vax. There were several other players, rotating in and out of times, but the only player that need names right now are Grog, my best friend and college roommate, and me. Story 1. DM tricked us into eating a child. Whoa, we're starting off strong. Let's do this. The first major horror involved this particular DM happened during our Curse of Strahd campaign, because Curse of Strahd seems to be a magnet for the wrong kind of horror. During the campaign, the DM added an NPC we weren't expecting, a polymorphed dragon named Sudarius Draconi. Hope I pronounced it right. A DMPC from a dungeon master we had apparently both played with separately before. Sudarius and his player were a horror story in their own right, but for now just know that Vax included this NPC and his children for his own reasons. We played through Strahd and actually had a pretty good time with a few hiccups here and there. We're finally on our way to Castle Ravenloft to fight Strahd himself under the pretense that he had invited us for dinner. When we arrived, we actually found the table totally set up, including large roast meat. We all rolled inside, perception, and every check we could as Strahd invited us to feast, making sure it wasn't poisoned or human meat. Vax would only say that it was the best meal in all Barovia. So a few took a bite and then Strahd bragged about how powerful he was, how two dragons, Sudarius and his son, had tried to attack him and now they were served at his dinner table. Yes, that meat some of us ate was in fact cooked dragon, who we had only met before in a form of a child. Whoa. Okay, like, I don't fully know if Strahd would be that kind of a guy to do something like this. Like, I don't know, man. I haven't really thought of, like, making a bad guy that will actually roast, like, a dragon child alive and serve it to the party as some sort of evil revenge. I don't know if Strahd is that kind of dude to do that. I feel like he's not. Most people really describe him as kind of like a vampire incel or something like that. I don't know, man. Maybe I gotta play Curse of Strahd. That is both low-key metal of him to do that, but also, I hope there's a context and a reason why you DM decided to do that. I don't know. One girl started crying and the rest of us were very upset that there was no chance to tell any of this from our roles. Only looking back later did I realize this whole thing was just petty revenge against a previous DM who had slighted him, killing off their DMPC to make them weak in his world. Oh, that is petty. That is so petty. Also, I think a regular perception or even a arcana check, medicine check, I mean, even a simple perception check should be able to be like, hey, this meat that you're eating looks visually like something else entirely. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, roasted pig looks like roasted pig. I don't know what a roasted child looks like, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't look like a roasted pig. But also to do that, just to be like, hey, this DMPC of yours that you like so much, I roasted him in my game as petty revenge. Nah, 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 boo. It's like, whoa, dude, that's, I don't know if it was done specifically to make Strahd look more evil or just to spite the other DM by killing off the DMPC in this world. That is wild. Sadly, I was the one who calmed everyone down and convinced them all we should keep playing. So the continuing horror stories should probably be considered my fault in a way. Hindsight 2020. Story 2. You beat the dragon? Time for a bigger dragon. After the end of Curse of Strahd, we played through a homebrew campaign with the same characters, still run by Vax because we were all college friends. We forgave him for the end of Strahd campaign. I know it was foolish. Anyway, after playing for a while with both its own ups and downs throughout the campaign, we eventually were on a quest dealing with a black dragon. Pretty standard stuff, but I guess Vax wanted us to make a deal with the dragon rather than kill it. Did he tell us this? No. Something you probably could have done with Vax, just, hindsight 2020 observation, is maybe for the next campaign, set up a session 0. Just be like, hey, Vax, let's not have children be, like, eaten in the campaign. Maybe not, this horrifying thing that traumatizes players and that horrifying thing, just a tiny checklist of do's and don'ts, and then, we're good to go. Or at least have some sort of expectations on what is expected in this campaign, including, something as grim as dragon eating, I guess, or child eating, or something. I don't know, man. I feel like if you're gonna put in a theme in your campaign that's gonna shock your players and actually make them upset, I feel like you should probably kind of red flag it or try to handle it in a more, tactful way, which I don't think Vax is doing it specific for the tact. I think they're just doing it as a revenge to the DMPC or something, maybe. Instead of a father killed a black dragon in its lair of what felt like a pretty fun fight. While we were celebrating, we stepped in the next room and immediately found an even bigger black dragon. We were low on health and items, and there was no way we could beat it. It demanded we surrender and discuss terms with it. I remember looking across the table and seeing Grog, who played a headstrong barbarian, pick up his character sheet and tear it in half. See, Grog's barbarian wouldn't be the type to just surrender and negotiate, so he said he would definitely attack him. What does Vax do when he hears this? Has the dragon cast Disintegrate on the barbarian. Once again, there was an argument and I managed to talk everyone into calming down and worked out how to keep everything going and eventually even got the barbarian back. But of course, that wouldn't be the end of the horror. I could see kind of, if let's say for example, you did kill a dragon because maybe, I don't know, like a conniving green dragon wanted to move into the lair or wanted to remove the other dragon from the big picture and stuff. And it was like, two dragons basically trying to play the party to, eliminate the other one. But to have like, oh, you killed a big dragon. Now there's even a bigger dragon in the next room. Have fun, party. Why even have the first dragon to attack and kill? Just have the bigger dragon there and move on the story immediately. It just feels kind of silly to be like, ooh, this dragon you fought that was really bad, it was a minion all along. There's even a bigger dragon. What happens when you kill the bigger dragon? An even bigger black dragon? A black dragon Tiamat with 5 heads or something? What is the next evolution here, huh? Story 3. Strahd wins anyway. So something I didn't mention before was that Strahd returned in a homebrew campaign as an ally. More like Vax occasionally wanted to play him as a DMPC, but for the most part, we didn't mind. That was until the finale. Strahd betrayed us, because of course he did, and summoned Tiamat, called it Tiamat into the world so that he could use it to kill her and take her power. During the fight, the barbarian jumped onto her back, and somehow got outside my cleric's healing reach while I was still in range to hit Tiamat. After a long and grueling final fight, Strahd drank her blood and became a weird vampire dragon devil lord. He asked us to join him while he goes on to conquer hell, and obviously we refused. The barbarian got one shot again, because of course he tried to attack. All the rest of us just kind of deflated. We didn't get any cool epilogue for our characters, just Strahd goes on to become the Lord of Hell. Yay. That is so depressing. The fact that DM is planning out the epilogue for Strahd as he goes to conquer hell, but not for the party. That is lame, man. As a DM, obviously you're not an entertainment machine, but at the end of the day, you are serving a purpose at the table to service your players, your party, your main cast. If you're not DMing for them, but you're DMing for your super awesome special DMPC, write a book. Just write a book. If you want to play out cool fantasies about your favorite fan fiction character, a favorite DMPC, write a damn book, a novel, whatever. Write some sort of fan fiction on a fan fiction website. I can't think of one, honestly. I don't exactly use them. But if you're gonna be DMing, you gotta make sure that you're servicing the players and playing with the players, with the other players at the table, because guess what? As a DM, you're not the most important person at the table. Everybody is important. So you gotta make sure that everybody feels cohesively important. At the end of the day, that's what the DM is supposed to do. Even if you do bring a DMPC of some kind, whether it's a powerful DMPC or some weak DMPC, whatever, to make an epilogue for your super special DMPC that you just bring in to overtake the campaign is just lame and petty. Man, Vox sucks, dude. I'm sure you're wondering, why? Why do we keep playing with this DM? Simple. We were all friends. Grog was my best friend, and I considered Vax to be a good friend too. The other players unnamed here were mostly our girlfriends. Heck, I went on to marry one of my fellow players. Congrats! On top of that, it's not like it was all bad. There were fun sessions, and our characters were a blast. I played a gnome cleric inspired by Santa Claus, and even got a hilarious moment where ally Strahd and my cleric rode on the back of a dragon together and did the Titanic I am flying bit. The group would disband later, not due to the RPG reasons but real life drama, when all the girls in the group suddenly decided they hated one another. but it's neither here or there. There's always, in these kind of stories, there's always the good and the bad. Like, just because somebody's having a really bad time with the DM doesn't mean that you guys suddenly had a horrible experience. You probably had bad moments, and obviously you're listing all the bad moments, but they're layered also with good moments. And people as creatures, myself included, are people that remember the good times, the good moments, because the world hasn't made us fully jaded and stuff. It made us hate the world around us sometimes. And maybe I don't even think about the succubus that stole my soul and decided to overpower me and basically make me lose all self-consciousness and all control of my life. It basically forced me to be her little manservant. Yes, I am bitter. Yes, I am jaded, but I'm allowed to be. That's tiefling nature. But that's neither here or there. At the end of the day, like, I can't blame you. The good comes with the bad in most stories, and most of the times, yes, you stay together because you are friends. You can overlook some different little mistakes, but at some point, you gotta kind of realize at some extent that, man, Vax is not that good at DMing. They're not that fun as a DM. Maybe you should rotate somebody out. Story 0. A one Sudarius Draconi. So as promised, here's a prequel to the above story of where I used to play with a previous horror DM that we'll call Tiberius. Oh, I don't like the name Tiberius. I heard stories about a Tiberius. I didn't get to play with Tiberius nearly as much as he was a bit of a flake DM, but the few times I did, he almost always included his DMPC, whom he also claimed was a spirit that guided him in his weird neo-pagan religion called a one Sudarius Draconi. The first time I played with him, I made up a half-elf ranger named Waltz. I say made up because he never actually gave me a real character sheet or books. Anyway, session 1, and we start in a tavern where Waltz gets into a gambling game with Sudarius. I rolled a high enough check to realize he was cheating me. So what happens? Sudarius stabs Waltz in the eye and backflips out of a window. I don't think he even rolled an attack. It just happened. Fun fact to the DMs, you can't just make things happen. But this is a moment of absolute bullcrap to make it happen. As a DM, you don't even need a single roll or anything to say, oh, rocks fall, everybody dies, because the DM, your word is basically law. But also, you have to make sure you practice that restraint and not make it so BS. Yes, you should be able to say no to some really bad decisions that players are doing. Yes, you should probably say no sometimes when players' actions will completely derail the campaign, or they want to completely break something in the world that basically would need it to exist in order to continue. Like, I don't know, a king on the throne. There has to be a king on the throne. If there's not a king on the throne, then the kingdom is doomed. But also, you should practice restraint and not pull some random nonsense like, my character stabs him in the back and backflips out of the window and your character's dead and I win. Unless the cool cinematic where the DMPC is actually doing some stuff that benefits the party and does not need to be like a specific dice roll or something. When I said that seems unfair, he eventually had Sudarius heal her eye by giving her a cool dragon eye. I thought it was cool at the time. Then we never played again because Tiberius was a flake. I was basically a new player at the time. I had no access to any of the books. I had no idea how any of the rules worked and just thought however Tiberius played was normal. Look back now and realize it was just playing his weird power fantasy. Most people that want to have people as an audience instead of players will do that. They will not let you know anything about the rules and stuff, and they'll just make you be an audience just to witness the great DMPCs do cool stuff, and it's honestly really lame. Anyway, since these stories I've become a game master myself, gotten married, and made new friends with whom I play games. Now, if only we actually had time to play. Oh, I feel ya. Request. So Morrow, here's my odd request. Would you be interested in trying out the Final Fantasy D20 system sometime? I know you like Final Fantasy XIV and that you're excited for the upcoming tabletop game. Final Fantasy D20 is hack of Pathfinder 1st edition with lots of excellent mechanics like MP spells and limit breaks for every class. I've been interested in running it and would love to get a chance to run it for you if you'd be interested. I'm honored you're requesting me this invitation, and honestly I feel just genuinely humbled and honored that you give me such a privilege, but I gotta be honest, I'm kind of an introvert, honestly. I know maybe it doesn't seem like I'm introverted because I'm so expressive and can just yap all day on this channel, but like honestly I'm kind of an introvert and I'm really shy around new people. I probably come off as like an extrovert because I project my voice and I'm just unapologetically running around on this YouTube channel doing whatever the hell I want to do. I don't know, it's just I'm actually kind of shy, honestly. I would love to do it sometime, like maybe be able to expand my horizons and try different systems and be able to meet new people. I don't know. I know some RPG horror story YouTubers have like their own little communities on like Discord or Reddit or something, or some kind of social media, and at some point I feel like maybe I should put together something, at least some way to be able to connect to people. people, you know, just be able to meet new folk and try different stuff. Maybe one day, honestly, maybe one day. I'm super grateful for the extension of the offer, and I would certainly love to try it. Not for any other reason other than I'm kind of peppy shy tiefling, and I just am really awkward with new people, honestly. But thank you so much for your story submission, Jacob. Let's move on to the next story for today. A story about the game that was not meant to be, from Diana. Hey Morrow, player of the ultimate tiefling Wooby is back with a story. Unfortunately, this one is genuinely just real life sad instead of in-character sad. Preemptively sorry if it's a mess to read. I'm still not over what happened just yesterday. This was sent a month ago. I am so sorry, I'm checking it just now. A little more than a month ago, I alongside 4 other people tried to start a GURPS game going. Power fantasy plus heroics and tactics combat. Thing is, I was not previously capable of both of those due to honestly just stupid delusion that we were born a long time ago and which I didn't realize existed until the 3rd session of this particular game, but that's for the later. So we organized a group and I did say to the GM that I have a difficult time with combat and I don't know how to do heroics, but I really wanted to finally play GURPS for the first time for real and to also try and find how to enjoy power fantasy heroics and combat. The first session, it didn't happen due to scheduling conflicts, but the second try of it did the next week and we finally played, having a relatively good time. Even considering the end session combat with which I did struggle, but more like a novice player rather than my usual thing, so it was okay. Next 2 sessions, we had to play online because one of the players just straight up got sick and couldn't attend, so we did through Foundry. And that's when my issues finally struck. I would enter panic mode and barely do anything besides simple attacks, although not just because of anxiety, but also because I lean way too hard into the whole concept of a character that hates her powers and tries to not use them, not only because of the self-hatred, but because it could endanger her due to being a taboo subject, which may lead to either magical lobotomy, akin to Dragon Age, or simple execution, especially since she's an illegal mage, again due to the taboo powers, so never even tried to get a license. Whoa, that's some pretty heavy stuff coming into the campaign. I mean, I'm assuming you probably talked to the GM, DM, whatever GURPS use, I think it's a GM, regarding like the setting and if it's okay to actually use magic and stuff. Some games we've read about where like it's a D&D world, but magic is illegal, so spellcasters are kind of on a tight rope every single time whenever it comes to spellcasting. But in those situations, usually the spellcasters don't even know that magic is illegal. If magic is illegal in your setting and it's kind of a pseudo taboo thing for your characters to use their abilities, maybe there would be a way to reroll your character or make a new character that's not gonna be taboo, so you don't have to worry about the character using it, or at least have the reassurance of some kind from the GM say that, hey, as long as you're not in town, feel free to do whatever the heck you want, but you know, it's gotta matter if you decide to use it around guard or something. I don't know. I understand these sort of predispositions can definitely be a bit of a hamper when trying to enjoy something new for once and just have to want to use your abilities but kinda can't because it's illegal and you might get in trouble and stuff, and that can definitely be a bit overwhelming, so I fully get where you're coming from. But other than that, everything was fine. And at the very least, after the 3rd session, especially thanks to the talks from GM and the other players, I finally found a lead onto the source of my combat and power issues. And since then, I was trying to rectify it, not only because I never wanted to drag others' fun, but also because I don't want to drag my own fun because of stupid delusions. And well, I think I finally managed to get over it, more or less, considering that I was finally able to go all out last Mutants and Mastermind session with another group, and generally playing it also helped a lot to get into the heroic and powerful mindset finally. Unfortunately, that same day we received a message that one other player will be leaving our game, basically the evening before the day we finally were supposed to play, after another 2 weeks without a game due to scheduling issues again. And in the light of everything that happened, GM decided that tomorrow, today's game, is cancelled along with the campaign, and that after the vacation, which he was supposed to go on next week, there'll be a re-recruitment of players with a relaunch, and I'm not going to be invited. Wait, were you fired from your campaign? It sounds like you got like a letter where they say, we were pleased to spend so many years with you, but unfortunately we're gonna have to let you go. Did you just get fired from the campaign? GM said that I can't into heroics and tactics combat, and that even though he wanted to give me another chance for that session, which didn't happen, since it didn't, he won't be risking pulling me back in, even thrown in the sorry, but at least despite all your issues, you have no negativity, which is good. Take care. You got actually fired from the campaign. The DM or GM fired you from the campaign. They literally sent you, we're gonna have to let you go letter. What? And I don't know how to feel except pain. There's basically zero chance for me to play GURPS now. Nobody else seems to run around here, and I don't enjoy playing online anymore. But I can still as last resort. Worst of all, now this campaign and this character is another open gestalt, one which I'll never be able to close due to the unique setting. Alongside being run on GURPS, I can never expect such string of events to happen again, and I'm the only one to blame. Am I? Friends which I told this already before seem to think that GM was a douche for this, and it's his fault that he did not accommodate or try to help me, or just that he took me in the first place. I don't know what to think about this either. I hate blaming anyone else for my own fault, but I can't be sure it really was entirely mine anymore. Either way, I'm glad that at least this experience helped me realize the root of evil that affected my ability to enjoy a part of TTRPGs for stupid reasons. I did have a lot of fun yesterday doing Mutants and Masterminds, and I was really hyped for another GURPS session, and I now wanted to do more with my newfound appreciation of power and combat. I don't really know what the moral is here. Is there even any? I really just want to share my agony with people, and maybe someone there may help me get over this, because it really stings and I'd rather not feel this. Either way, thank you for reading. Thank you for sending it in, and I genuinely don't think you did anything wrong. It feels a little bit strange for you, GM, to just like, hey, we gotta go ahead and take a break and we gotta relaunch the whole thing and you won't be invited. It's like, okay, screw you too. I guess I would just go play a different game. That Mutants and Masterminds game was great. Maybe I'll just join them as well. Honestly, I can't even see myself doing that to any of my players and stuff. Like, if somebody's having a problem, let's say, for example, something with a character or a specific part of combat or rolling dice or whatever, maybe a specific magic item or a crafting system doesn't really work out to kind of wish it work out, and maybe it could be improved in some way. I personally feel like as a DM, I need to try to see eye to eye with my players and figure out what the problem is. Let's say, for example, I have a player that maybe doesn't like the subclass. No problem. Let's reroll your subclass. Let's just toss out the current subclass you have and just go with something else. You don't like your current class? You don't like Blood Hunter? Screw it. Let's just take your character, keep the stats, swap the stats around, pick a class that you actually like and want to play in with a subclass that you like and want to play, keep your levels, keep your feats if you want to swap them around, and just make something work. Because I mean, to me, at the end of the day, the enjoyment of players is the most important thing for me. I don't know if other DMs have that as a priority. To me, that's like a #1 priority all the time, every single day. But if you're a GM, instead of, bringing up any sort of, concerns or problems like, hey, this part of the combat was kind of weird, can we maybe get that ironed out and just, talk through just the enjoyment of combat, just to send you a firing letter like that? If you're feeling bitter after this, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd feel bitter if somebody fired me from a campaign and said, we won't be inviting you to the campaign. You could just not say that and just say, hey, I'm thinking of just shutting down the campaign for now because I just got a little bit tired of it, and leave it there. To go through and tell somebody, we won't be inviting you, just seems like a dick thing to do. Is it a dick thing? I don't know, man. I'd feel bitter about it. That feels like the worst way to go about that situation. If you don't want to have somebody in a campaign, just say, hey, listen, this is not working out, I'm sorry, and just, go from there. Don't tell somebody, I'm starting a whole new campaign and I won't be inviting you because previous issues that I could have talked to you about as a GM, but I didn't. So there you go, your firing notice. No D&D is better than bad D&D, or GURPS, or TTRPGs, really any TTRPGs. Your time is better spent doing something you actually enjoy and have fun with. And yes, it's gonna suck looking for other games and everything, but if you really still want to play GURPS, you could probably find a game out there, maybe some friends of friends that are playing it. We can find some sort of group out there. If I had a group, hell, I'd invite you, but I actually don't play GURPS at all. Honestly, I would just talk to the people you played Mutants and Masterminds with and just play with them, and just keep looking for other games to play with. Honestly, it feels really weird for the GM just to be like, sorry, I'm starting a brand new campaign and you're not invited. It's like, fine then, I'm just gonna find a better thing to do. What was the point of spending all that time invested in the campaign the whole way, huh? I do wish you good luck and hope you find a good game for yourself. Thanks so much for your story submission. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.